In the Ethereum price today, we appear to be forming a stronger rebuild after that big dump on the FTX news last week, but I'm going to tell you that there's definitely things that you need to be very concerned about before investing into crypto right now. So let's dive in to today's video. Guys, this is the Ethereum chart on the weekly, and when we zoom out, we can see very clearly what has been going on. We had a breakout as expected back at the end of October, and then we found this resistance line and have pushed lower. Now we're obviously testing the upper line of this trend pattern here, guys. Is it something that's going to give me confidence that this is going to hold and break towards the upside? Well, something has happened in crypto very, very recently, and that is the demise of the FTX platform. Now, I want you to kind of think about a lot of exchanges and a lot of crypto companies out there right now who have over leveraged themselves, basically lending out money to other people, basically then investing in lots of cryptocurrencies that might not be that steady. For example, crypto.com investing around 20% of its portfolio into Shiba Inu, which is effectively a token of a dog. Guys, this is pretty scary stuff. If everyone starts to pull money off exchanges, which theoretically they should be doing and putting it into cold storage, then actually things are looking a little bit sketchy. But fundamentally what's happening in the US dollar and the charts itself shows me that we could potentially be a little bit more confident than we're sort of hearing in the sort of scaremongery news, etc. Now, for months and months, Ethereum and Bitcoin have been struggling to gain any momentum at all, and that's because they're relating in price to the US dollar, an asset which has been climbing heavily because of increased interest rates over the past year or so. This is on a weekly chart, guys, and you can see the US dollar, or the DXY, has been moving aggressively like this, but very, very crucially, we have been in a rising wedge and broken very hard towards the downside. And in theory, this DXY pattern should be coming down to at least this area, which is around 5 or 6% lower than current levels, and should theoretically continue to hit lower levels after a recent blow off top. Now, that does indicate that crypto should theoretically be pushing in an upwards direction. Obviously, if you took out that FTX news, then we're still looking at bullish. And jumping back to Ethereum, but weirdly, the US dollar now has fallen, and then crypto is also falling as well. So that's kind of giving us mixed signals. But what it's telling us is fundamentally everything should still be the same. Obviously, news comes in, it impacts markets. When you throw a stone into a pond and the ripples come out, eventually they go away, and then you return to normal jogging. That's what we're looking at in crypto, if you ask me. Now, on a 1 hour chart on Ethereum, everyone's been raving about this symmetrical triangle. You can see that we had some sort of a break towards the upside, but then rejected and pushed lower. Typically, a liquidity grab like this is common before we see a further push further down. And obviously, guys, now we have big institutional money in the game. It does mix things up, and it does make it a little bit more complicated because actually it's less obvious than it used to be. We can't necessarily rely on these patterns like we used to be doing, because ultimately many people were trading before looking at patterns and they're reacting to the patterns as and when they happen. That's what causes these patterns to be reliable within crypto. These patterns are not reliable in Forex markets, which are controlled predominantly by big money or the banks. But what we can see right now is very interesting indeed. Now, theoretically, the breakout target for this should be down significantly lower, somewhere into this area down here around $1,180. Now, what we got down at $1,180 that's giving me a little bit of an idea that something could be going on. Now, taking this order block and putting it here, guys. Now, what an order block is effectively is an area in the market at which big money are buying. How do I know big money are buying here? Well, look at these green candles that have come up out of this space. So before we kind of moved up aggressively into this, we then had a big push, another sell-off, and then a very big push, okay? So in a very quick space of time, guys, the price pushed 13%, but you can see that we're now starting to trickle back down in towards this area. Now, what I would like to see in order to think that crypto is actually going to continue to push higher and not see lows of this level again would be to get back down into this zone. And you can see there's clearly an area of support here. We've got this wick over this side and then various wicks in the middle. So right now, what we're looking for is a further slide into this area. If you're asking me, am I going to short this? No, I'm not, because this should be where I was looking to short, but I wasn't, because actually right now, probably not the time to be trading on a weekend when there's no volume in the market. So what we could expect to happen, guys, is a push down into this zone and very quickly push out. And we need to monitor how it's going to get pushed out of here. Now, what I mean is if it comes down very quickly into that zone and then suddenly it shoots very quickly out of that zone, it's a very good indication to me that this is a strong buy zone for Ethereum. So we can look at what goes on when we get into there, whether we're getting strong wick rejections towards the downside along here, and then a big bullish push back out, which would show me that this would be likely a very good buying opportunity in the short term for Ethereum. If you were looking to make a long trade and waiting for it to come down into this area, then you would be looking to put your stop loss probably somewhere under this order block. Obviously, if you got the confirmations, I'm talking about the candlestick patterns and things like that. And I've been talking about this quite often in my Telegram groups, which are linked down below, guys. If you want to go and learn more about trading and the setups that people don't talk about often in cryptocurrency, then make sure you're getting in those channels, guys. And you can hit me up on DM and I will be able to respond to you and help you out as much as I can. So what we're seeing right now, guys, in my opinion, is likely to be a further push down towards here. I'm then looking for confirmations. I'm talking wicks towards the downside, and then a big bullish candle out of this area. And then typically I'm just looking for a 3-to-1 risk to reward. So effectively you can see it coming down here, breaching the zone, coming back up, and then I take my 3% reward, which depending on the size of your account could be significantly bigger. And there are funded accounts that you can use, so you can actually trade significantly large amounts of money without actually having to put very much of your own money down at all. Like I'm talking $100,000 accounts that you can buy for like a few $100s and make $3,000 on a trade like this by risking $1,000 of someone else's money rather than $1,000 of your money. Again, I talk about that in my Telegram, guys. Get across, absolute no-brainer. So to build more confidence around this potential scenario, let's dive across and look at Bitcoin to see whether or not these things would line up. Now, if we saw that move down in Ethereum, you would be looking at Bitcoin returning to a very similar space in the market, somewhere around here. Now, what have we got again that we can look at in this particular chart? Well, you can see once more that this is a very big buy order. Okay, these are billion-dollar deals, guys, flowing into the market that are causing us to pump higher. So it's more than likely that we're going to return back down into this zone. We have a push up, we come back down, and we've established the zone here. Now, I don't know this is a zone yet until we get more confirmation. You can see that we did have a wick down. We didn't really get far enough into this zone for my liking, so I wasn't taking any buys. What we're really looking for is a push back down towards this area and then an aggressive push out. Now, this is why I draw zones. I don't draw lines, guys, because everyone else on the charts is like, oh, it's just broken beyond this line. It's going to continue in that direction. That's not how big money play in these markets, guys. They know that everyone thinks that, and they do the opposite because they want your money to be able to give them the liquidity to trade. That's the only reason normal people are allowed to trade in Forex markets, is to provide the liquidity for the big money, because they're too smart and they know each other's games. So what we can see, guys, right now, Bitcoin, I think, is going to creep down another couple of percent. You know, we could see something around 16,000 to around 16,200, somewhere within this area before we're looking to get into buys. On tradingview.com, we can just right click, we can add an alert, and then I can go and do things rather than sit in my office on a Sunday and look at a boring Bitcoin chart that's not really moving very significantly at all. Markets are going to be slowing. People don't have huge amounts of confidence in crypto right now, but the big money do all these crazy things. They create news events and things like that. I'm not saying that FTX was created by big money. It's clearly a big deal and it's clearly had a massive impact. But what you should know is you can buy fear and sell greed, and then you're in a far better position than you are when you're buying big green candles, because then you get big red ones. Buy off the back of red ones, and then maybe, or good chance that you get green ones. So I hope that makes sense, guys. We're effectively being patient. We're waiting to get down towards these levels. Now, can crypto continue to fall lower? I'm not saying there's guarantees or anything that we're going to get into this zone and bounce out for Bitcoin. And then if we're slipping below there, then you could really be retesting at these lows here. But what else fills me with confidence, guys? If we look at where the price is right now, this is on a weekly chart, and what I just talked about in terms of like buy zones and things like that is available on every single time frame. Now, what you can see that happened in the last bull market all the way back in November 2020, we can see that we pushed up. We had these little sideways movements, and after these 3 weeks where we kind of went up and down, you know, we went up to around 19k, we dropped back down to 16k. These were so the banks could fill their bags. They can't do it all in one sitting because the price will move too quickly. They wait, they fill the bags, and then eventually, once the bags are full, off they go, guys. We're now revisiting this order block, and ultimately, these were potentially good buy zones within here. And now what I like to see when we re-enter a buy zone for the final time, potentially, not guaranteed, is a sharp, harder dig down into it. And the reason that is they need to shake out more people. They need to get loads of people who are jumping in on sell positions, trying to short that market, so that when it rips back against them, they have the money. One, they have people who are selling to them and they can buy, and then they get a great opportunity to be able to dive in with big positions and go long. This is Ethereum as well, guys. All the way back in January of 2021, we had a big push. We had some consolidation, push back into that consolidation zone, and then lo and behold, you can see where we are now sat. After that big push, we had a wick that came all the way down here to around $914. And where are we sat right now? A little bit above that. It wouldn't be surprising if Ethereum crept down a little bit further into this area, but I still think the absolute bottom for Ethereum is more like $1,000. Could be lower, could be wrong. Go away and do your own research. But really, you're looking at a 20 or 30% downside worst case, whereas the long upside potential back to all-time highs from current levels is nearly 300%. So you'll get a 3x against a 20% downside risk. Trading is a game of probabilities, not a game of guaranteeing yourself to win everything, because no one can guarantee themselves to win everything. And actually, by trying to guarantee yourself to win everything, you actually end up losing. Sounds weird, but if you're okay with taking small losses, that when you can capitalize on the big wins is where you're going to make your money, guys. Something else that's really filling me with confidence is the US 30. US 30, very similar to crypto, as the interest rates have been going up, it's been sliding down because people have been taking money out of investments and then moving it into safe houses like the US dollar. But as the DXY fell, we've started to see the US 30 starting to push up. And obviously the US 30, unlike crypto, wasn't hit by that massive FTX move. So we're seeing US 30 starting to push higher. The markets will open later on today in Asia, and we'll see whether or not we're able to break beyond this zone here. So right now, be cautious. Don't use more money than you can afford to lose, guys. You've got potential bankruptcies coming out for other companies around the corner. A lot of these massive crypto companies before, which everyone was very confident in, lots of people have been shaken out and lots of people have lots of fear. But I can't emphasize enough the importance of controlling your monkey mind and making what feels like a very illogical decision, which is to buy into the bottom of the market. I'm guaranteeing you guys, when you're at the top of the market, everyone feels great about buying, but that's the most dangerous thing you can do because the upside is small, the downside is huge. If you're putting money into crypto that you are happy to not use for 2 years, I pretty much can guarantee in a non-financial advice kind of way that you're going to be significantly better off than if you're trying to wait for the bottom of the market and it never comes, because likely you're going to miss out on some very big and juicy moves. Guys, smash that like button. Thank you very much for doing that. Hope you're having a great weekend. Dive into those Telegram groups, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.